Well, welcome back to my channel, honey bun. This is Stu, and today's video is going to be one of the biggest transformation videos that I have ever done or even posted on Instagram. This client, here is her before. She has never actually had her hair done in the salon, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is cracking open my energy drink because I'm going to need it for this one. And while I'm giving my energy drink time to settle into my body so I can tackle this process, we can go ahead and start and get into mixing. What I'm mixing up is going to be Gold Roll Oxycure in 20 volume. This lightener has been my go-to for quite some time now. I've really loved using it the past 6 months. What I love about this lightener is that it always delivers a clean lift. It's got a punch to it, but it also is very gentle on the hair, so it's going to be keeping it healthy. And the reason I chose 20 volume is because honestly that's my go-to as well with any kind of lightening service. I'm going to be utilizing baby lights today, so 20 volume is going to be gentle enough where it's not going to over process the hair, but it's also going to give me that punch that I'm looking for while maintaining the integrity of her hair and also giving me that clean lift that I'm looking for. And I like my lightener to be kind of like pancake batter, so that way it's not going to be too runny, it's where it's going all over the place, and it's not going to be too thick where it's hard to saturate the hair. And then to top everything off, I'm going to be adding in 1/16 of Olaplex to ensure the integrity of her hair. And then I'm also going to be mixing up a 10 volume bowl. It's going to be a smaller bowl because I'm just going to be utilizing this on the hairline. And then the first thing I'm going to be doing is going in and doing a rough cut. I love doing a rough cut before any lightener service, especially if a client is looking to do a big chop. This cut is not going to be perfect by any means, but there's no sense in us coloring any hair that we're just going to be cutting off. So basically I'm just kind of doing the baseline. I usually do it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch longer than she is going to be wanting it, and this is just going to ensure I'm not wasting time or product on coloring hair that we're just going to end up chopping off at the end of this service. So starting off this color service, I'm going to be starting off on the client's hairline. Now the hairline can be the trickiest thing to learn at first whenever you're trying to learn about blonding or anything like that. So what I'm going to be doing is a slice off of her hairline, followed by another slice and also another baby light. This is going to ensure that she's super bright in the front. It's going to make her feel really blonde, which is what my client's end goal is for today. I'm utilizing that 10 volume that we mixed up a little bit earlier in the video just to ensure that her hair doesn't over process. We all know that the hairline can be the most fragile part on a client, so using a lower developer is going to ensure the integrity and health of her hair while also giving that super bright result that you're looking for in the end.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.
You're going to be seeing me continue this 2-slice pattern, working my way up towards where the client parts her hair. This is just going to insinuate brightness everywhere, not just on the sides and where her money piece is. It's going to tackle all those areas in between. I feel like this is really important in trying to make a super nice, expensive looking hairline. Also, doing your patterns like this is going to ensure that she has brightness all the way around her hairline, like I was saying, and it's almost a way you can think about it as pushing that brightness all the way to the top, and then she's going to really have a pop of blonde where her money piece is going to be at.
Time is barely on our side. I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we chase.
As I'm continuing up her hairline, doing that face frame detail, I'm going to be moving on to where her hairline is actually at, where the client parts. So I'm going to be continuing that same pattern of 2 slices followed by a few micro super fine baby lights. This is just going to ensure that wherever the client parts at, no matter if she tosses her hair a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right as well, she is going to have the same amount of brightness that she has on her sides. I feel like the money piece or the face frame in general can be such a hard thing to tackle at first. So as long as you're keeping your sectioning on diagonals, not just going straight forward or anything like that, it's going to look less like a huge stripe in the front, and it's going to look more like a sun-kissed effect, and that's what you're really wanting. Those sun-kissed looks are what's going to make your client feel like her color is really natural, like she just went to the beach, just looking really beachy, and that's what you really want to execute with these things. So I'm going to be continuing with that same pattern, 2 slices, a few baby lights to follow, and it is going to turn out perfectly.
No, I don't want to waste what's left. And on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go. Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
So now that I've finished that pattern of her face frame on the left side of the client, I'm just going to be hopping over to the right side, continuing that same pattern. I want everything to be super nice and even on both sides. So if she has her hair up in a high ponytail, it's going to have the same amount of brightness around her face. So I'm going to just be executing that by doing the same thing, 2 slices to a few baby lights. I know it can seem a little repetitive at this point, but after I finish that face frame, I'm going to be going into more of the detail of actually how we're going to start and tackle this color correction.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll
So now that her face frame is completely done, I'm just going to be going up horizontally up the client's sides. Now, I usually don't do this because actually for a few reasons. One, I usually like to work on diagonals because it just works with the head shape better. But for this client, I wanted to get maximum coverage. I feel like just going up straight horizontally like this, I'm going to be able to pop in more foils, which is going to do the most amount of work, and I can get the most coverage whenever I'm baby lighting and going through trying to color correct all those brassy pieces, all those orange pieces, the darker pieces, the dark brown pieces. As I'm going through, I'm literally just doing a baby light, super micro fine. The only thing that I'm doing that is going to be a little bit different than what I usually do, I'm going to be leaving out minimum dropouts. So what this means is I'm going to be taking smaller sections than I usually would, but my baby lights are going to be pretty much the same. So I'm actually, what's going in the foil, what's going to be processed, what's color is going to be put on is going to be the same amount of hair, but my dropout is going to be a little bit less. This is going to help ensure that I get maximum coverage. I feel like with any time you do any kind of color correction, you're going to want to do the most amount of work, but this is going to help me do the most amount of work in the least amount of time. Because when you are in the salon, if you have a client coming in after her, or you just want to do everything in a timely manner so everybody doesn't feel like they're at the salon for hours and hours and hours, this is just an example of how I'm going to be working smarter, not harder, to get maximum coverage in the least amount of time, being quick and efficient. A little bit more of a backstory of my client. Like I said before, she has only ever had her hair colored at home, so she's only ever used store-bought dye, packet color, things like that, which can be super scary as a stylist to hear. I've seen examples for like a story just to reference. When I was in hair school, I had a client come in and she had only ever colored her hair at home, sort of like this client. So one of my fellow classmates started to foil her, and before they even could get done with the back, the first foil they did, literally, you guys, started to smoke and get super hot. It had a chemical reaction. Store-bought dyes can sometimes contain lead or other things like that, so it could have a chemical reaction whenever it comes to professional products, especially whenever you're trying to lift those metals or metallic dyes out of the hair. So it is a little bit scary as a stylist. The first thing that I thought whenever she told me she had only ever had her hair done at home, she had actually never been in a salon, is run. I feel like whenever it does come to clients that have used at-home hair color, it is a little bit scary when they went darker instead of when they went lighter. So she had a lot of brassy pieces, but me looking at it as a stylist and taking it in, thinking about how I wanted to execute this, it is a little less scary that she just lifted to a super brassy level. She was about a level 7 in some spots, a level 8 in some spots, and even some spots she was like a level 9. Around her face frame where her hair is super finer, those were super bright pieces, but in the interior of her hair, it was super dark. Another thing that this client told me is that she went to the store to buy actually a at-home bleaching kit so she can make her hair lighter, but someone had switched the dyes in the boxes apparently, because after she got done applying the color and rinsed it and blow dried her hair was actually super dark. So she had accidentally colored her hair to a brown level. It was about a level 5 or 6 from the pictures that she had showed me, but since then she has been executing color at home by going lighter with store-bought bleach. Like I said, it's super scary, but sometimes it is fun for a stylist to kind of tackle these challenging things, step out of our comfort zones, challenge our knowledge, challenge our skills just to see what we can do. And as you'll see at the end, I'm so excited that I actually did do that because it turned out beautiful. When it comes to the back of the head, what I have going on is I have two slight diagonal sections going up, meeting at the top with an upside down triangle. My assistant Megan is tackling those, and she is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. So if you guys, I'm going to be leaving her Instagram right here. If you're not following her, you need to follow her right this instant because honestly, she is the best. After we have done the full foil, you can kind of see here that there's still so much brass in the hair. So what I'm going to be going through and doing is actually teasing out her ends. I'm going to be taking kind of large sections and bumping up my developer from 20 volume to 25 volume just because it is a larger section to saturate. I'm just going to be spreading the hair like so, saturating kind of those mids kind of almost all the way towards the ends, missing out those ends that are super light just to go ahead and knock through that. I would hate to do all of these baby lights, but then after I get her toned, washed, and styled, she still have a bunch of brass in her hair. So I'm trying to execute it where I have minimum brass and we just have a super nice bright blonde, which is exactly what my client's end goal is, and that's exactly what I'm envisioning for her. It can be a little bit scarier bumping up your developer, but the way I think about it is you're just playing catch up. If I was to go out and tease out her ends with 20 volumes, everything that I have baby lighted before is going to finish a lot quicker than these larger sections like so. So I do the bump up my developer and kind of think of it as playing catch up. And here she is. We let her sit and process for an hour, and I think this is as much as we are going to be able to push her hair today. I want to make sure the integrity of her hair is safe, so this is as far as we got. She's a level 8, she's a level 9 in some areas, so we got a lot of brass to counteract, but the first thing I'm going to be going through and doing is tackling that root smudge. The client's goal picture was a super rooted bright blonde, so I'm going to be going in with 7N, 7A Gold Well colorants. I like using gold well colorances, especially with color corrections or anytime that I'm needing a little bit more coverage. Unlike Shades EQ, it's not super transparent. If I leave it on 5 to 10 minutes, it's actually going to stick almost like a demi-permanent color or a permanent color. Like, I love the coverage that this has. And the reason that I went in with 7 and 7A, what I usually preach in every class, every video, is that you want to go in with the client's natural level. However, her natural level was about a level 6. It was a little bit darker than a 7, but however, Goldwell Colorants was the line that I wanted to use, referring back to how it has great coverage. And a level 6 is a little bit too dark for her whenever it comes to Goldwell colorant. If I was using Shades EQ, it probably would be a little bit better for this client, but however, I just decided to go a little shade lighter just to make sure I get that coverage, just to make sure I cover up anything that I didn't want there. I'm really excited for this client to see what her hair's potential could actually be because since she's never been in the salon, and actually whenever we were going to tone her, it was so cute because she was like, do I just lean back and get my hair washed like I've seen in all the movies? Because she's literally never been in a salon, you guys. I had so much fun doing her hair. She was literally so adorable, and I'm very excited how it turned out. The only thing I'm not excited about is whenever I went to tone her, I actually dropped my camera, so I don't have any after footage of me actually toning her. It's going to be skipping right into the after of where we cut her, style her, and her after. But what I toned her with was Redken Shades EQ 9T, 9P, 9V. What that's going to do is help counteract all of the warm tones in her hair. As you can see, it's still super brassy. It was just not budging at the end of the day, but we can tone it out, and then she can come back and we can do another session in 6 to 8 weeks, trying to lift out more of that brass. And even between then, maybe at 4 weeks, she'll want to come in and get toned again. But I also added a little bit of 9GI. What that is going to be doing is keeping it very bright, almost enhancing those golden tones, but it is gold iridescent, so it's going to be nice and bright and not too yellowy gold, if that makes sense. If you're familiar with Shades EQ, you know exactly what I'll be talking about, and you guys, check out her after. I am so obsessed with how this turned out, and I'm so happy that we were able to execute this look for my client today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.